Hey, what's up everyone? Okay, so today's video is going to be about pairing and connecting with your loved one. What's better than that? Okay, so I'm going to share with you 3 easy steps to be able to pair with your child. So let's start with this. What exactly is pairing and what do I mean when I use this term? So most terms that I'm going to be using in this subscription and for all of my video diaries is referring to ABA and the science. Again, if you don't already know, I am creating a course, a 40-hour put together course for you and creating a community with future podcasts on the basics of ABA and all of the terms and all of the science of what ABA is and the science behind behavioral analysis. So, all right, let's get into the good stuff. Now that we know or have a broad idea of what ABA is, if you don't already take your child, we are going to start with pairing. You might have already heard this term. So in the home environment, it can be completely different from an actual ABA center. And as a parent or grandparent, we are taking on the responsibility of teaching them in the home environment on how to behave, learn things like self-care, which is a huge one, being able to communicate properly with siblings and in a family setting and all like that. So if you feel disconnected from your loved one, these 3 steps are going to make a huge difference in your relationship with your child or your grandchild. Okay, so number 1, find that thing, that object, that tangible item that they are already pairing with. Okay, so what do I mean? I mean, if there's something that your child or grandchild is picking up and is highly reinforced with, that's highly motivated by, it could be certain things such as an item, a certain stuffed animal, maybe even a movie, YouTube video, blocks, toys, something that's tangible that they can hold in. So what is that item that they're absolutely obsessed with or motivated by? That is number 1. So why do we need to find this? I just wanted to explain that even in my personal experience, I found it very discouraging sometimes that my son was more object-oriented and more reinforced by a certain object than he was by looking at my face, by my reactions, or my social reinforcement of giving hugs, things like that. There was a lot of pushing away until we were prepared really well. So, okay, number 1, find that object or item. And what I want to say to you is definitely don't be discouraged by the fact that your child is more object-oriented. That is just the way autism is wired, if you haven't already noticed. So don't be discouraged by this. Don't take it personally. It's not, as someone personally being on the spectrum, it's not that you don't want to reach out, that you don't want to be reinforced by those hugs and tickles. You are just not, or depending on where your child or grandchild is on the spectrum, you might not be able to communicate effectively. I don't want that right now, maybe later. I'm playing with this type of detailed social communication. So don't be discouraged. Reach out, and using these 3 steps will help. So once you find that object, there is number 2. Number 2, dedicate and commit your time to sit down with that child, with your child or your grandchild, your cousin, your niece, your nephew, sitting down with them for 15 minutes a day, for an hour a day in increments, and sit and do whatever they're doing. Even if they're just arm flapping and stemming for 15 minutes at a certain object, stand with them and do what they are doing and imitate and reach out into their world. Use that social reinforcement of first showing your actions to your child or grandchild that I am here, I am present with you, and I'm going to do what you like to do too. Because that is important. And showing your actions of introducing yourself to the world, if they tolerate it. You can desense into that depending on where your child or grandchild is on the spectrum. But in my experience, just sitting and stemming or twirling or eventually stacking and color coding blocks together really made a huge difference in just being involved and slowly introducing that social concept of sharing with objects and getting eye contact, responding to name, all that great stuff in the beginning. Even as a teenager or an adult, just sitting with them and being present with them and committing that time to them shows your actions of saying, hey, I'm here and I want to connect. So that is number 2. Dedicate your time, commit to it, and make a practice and a habit of it if you haven't already. So number 3 is the most important one. I will say that for sure. Number 3, if you have not already, desensitize your environment, whether it's your child or your grandchild. If your grandchild's coming over for a bit, take all of those favorite toys and put them away in containers. If you want to label, I like to label, I label them. And I put them in the closet or wherever that they cannot reach. And once you desense that environment of taking all of those reinforced items that you've already observed and found out that they like those things, so you're going to put those up. So like, I'll use an example. When I worked as an RBT, my boss said, you have to be the child's giant M&M when you walk in the room. You want to be that highly reinforcing object, in a sense, that person that they go to and say, hey, I know you will give me what I want. Okay, so that is probably the most important pairing part. So they come to you. You are that giant M&M. You are that person that they're like, yes, okay? And you can even use those opportunities as learning opportunities to try to get your child to communicate with you. If they're nonverbal, start with the beginning of the word. If it's a train, you say ta, and they try to imitate. Again, if they are even not at the part where they know to imitate, start there by simple things like knocking. Knock, knock, repetitive in any sort of autism or anyone on the spectrum, where they're Asperger's or non-verbal. Repetitiveness is key. That's when they start getting things. I even still do this today as a 27-year-old woman. Repetitiveness is key. Obsessive repetitiveness to the point of no return and to non-functional situations and things is not healthy. But back to number 3. Being that giant M&M by desensitizing the environment and putting everything up so that they have to come to you to get those objects that they're so reinforced and motivated by. So establishing these 3 things in the environment, in your home environment, or even if they just come to visit as a grandparent, take and apply these 3 steps. It will make a huge difference. You will see over time, after the repetitiveness of building these habits and starting to connect with your loved one, makes a huge difference in just building those social concepts for them to learn, and just building that relationship with you, letting them know that they can trust you, that you will provide for them, that, showing your actions towards them. Do not let the fact that they are not as socially reinforced as neurotypical people discourage you, or you taking it personally that they do not want to reach out and connect as much as you want to reach out and connect with them. So I know these 3 things will help, and I would love to hear how they help you and how they have helped your home environment. Again, I am creating the course, which will be pre-launched in a few months, and I will be sending you these video diaries and upcoming soon podcasts. So again, I hope this was helpful. I love being able to. All right, I'll see you around. Bye.